should play one of these guys. Can anybody hear us out there? Wait a minute. That's unusual. It shouldn't be acting like this. Huh.
Wait, let me type.
Okay.
Oh, are we live? Wait, does it say?
We should be streaming.
It says offline.
But that's unusual that, yeah, it wouldn't be. I don't think I'd try. Oh, I guess you did.
Oh. Refreshing, it's good.
Streaming?
It says offline.
Oh, but that's unusual that, yeah, it wouldn't be. I don't think I'd try. Oh, I guess you did.
Oh, hello? Refreshing, it's good.
Streaming?
It says offline.
Oh, but that's unusual that, yeah, it wouldn't be.
Do you hear the bird?
I don't think I'd try. Oh, I guess you did.
Oh, hello? Refreshing, it's good.
Streaming?
It says offline.
Oh, but that's unusual that, yeah, it wouldn't be.
Do you hear the bird?
I don't think I'd try. Oh, I guess you did.
Oh, hello? Refreshing, it's good.
Streaming?
It says offline.
Oh, but that's unusual that, yeah, it wouldn't be.
Do you hear the bird?
I don't think I'd try. Oh, I guess you did.
Oh, hello? Refreshing, it's good.
Streaming?
It says offline.
Oh, but that's unusual that, yeah, it wouldn't be.
Do you hear the bird?
I don't think I'd try. Oh, I guess you did.
Oh, hello? Refreshing, it's good.
Streaming?
It says offline.
Oh, but that's unusual that, yeah, it wouldn't be. Oh, wait, you know what?
How's that?
Are we better now? Did it fix the thing?
Gotta wait for the delay, I guess.
I guess so. Oh,
right,
okay, I guess we're good now.
Thank you.
Cool. Sorry about that. We are having a time and a half. So we are hanging out with Fire, Angelo Fire, and Fire, Allie Fire, and talking about lights at night Fire.
Yeah, new office.
New office. We're still figuring out how everything works. You are along for the ride live with all of our shenanigans, which is pretty intense. So this is Angelo's first time streaming with you guys. Angelo, why don't you tell the stream who you are and what you do on the team?
I'm Angelo. I'm a software engineer on Stonehearth, and recently I've been working on sort of, I guess, an exploration of like lighting and that kind of thing. So we're just going to talk about that a bit today.
Which is super cool.
Here, let's start by talking about this though. Let's try and do that. Have you shown this yet? I'm
pretty sure we have seen this together before, but we can totally go over it again if we want to.
Yeah. What do people think?
What do people?
I mean, if they've seen it before, they know. Like,
I tell you what. So, what we wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about today, in particular, is some of the cool stuff that has been kind of cooking on the back burner in regards to like how to make lighting in Stonehearth, particularly lighting in Stonehearth at night, both look cooler and be more functional, if that makes sense.
Right, like there's like a gameplay
So
implication of what the lights
do we have a picture?
Like.
Do we have a picture of it at just like regular at night?
Yeah.
Like currently. So yeah, like if you look at the way lights work at night right now, you can see that they're very twinkly, they're very serene. But oh, go ahead. There we go. Yes. So nice. But yeah, very twinkly, very serene, but they don't necessarily affect a huge amount of area around them. And in fact, nighttime itself is so bright that they don't really have to. So there's not really a whole lot of like...
Right, I guess the gameplay system was like lightness and darkness. Like the Hearthling would know, like sort of have some reaction to like being in the dark, like if they're scared of the dark or something like that. But if we were gonna have something like that, we wanted to communicate it properly. Like, so just looking at the screen, you know, like, okay, they're in darkness.
Yeah, and the problem right now is that the lights that we have at the moment are very decorative, but they don't do a great way of showing you, the player, hey, when is the Hearthling in the light versus when the Hearthling is not inside of the light. And in general, they can do more aesthetically.
So Allie worked on this, which is like a nighttime version. Can you talk a bit about what your process was here?
Oh shoot. Okay, yeah. So my process for this actually began with this paint over here that I started working on a pretty long time ago. Just beginning to take a look at like what are some little things that we can start thinking about far in advance for ways that we can like elevate the look of Stonehearth, like make buildings cuter, make the world feel more immersive. Ways that don't like, you know, kind of blow it up to pieces with like lots of noise and lots of like fancy things, but that kind of like take what we're doing and just like refine it and polish it and make it lovely.
Oh, looks like we need to turn the music down.
Oh, sorry. Let's adjust that really. Oh, where to go?
There.
Do. Aha, it's got a little arrow on it. That's so nice. All right, it is down to now a 3. Hopefully that'll be good for you guys. Sorry. Again, we're still doing that. But anyway, so the purpose of this painting was to try and like look ahead, at what Stonehearth would look like with like a few more layers of polish, again to create a more immersive world that's like fun to be in and believable and just all those things. And this is just like kind of a small corner of all that. And so one of the things that we have to think about is like not just what something like this looks like in the daytime, but also like what happens when the sun goes down. And the purpose of this exercise was to kind of try and create that same kind of like, I don't know, aspirational. We'll use the word aspirational like-ness that the daytime picture had, but only with night. So instead of like little flickering green lamps in the dark, like how do we make darkness like richer and more compelling and more beautiful? That way you can have moments in there where like, hey, what if like bright bells lit up at night? What if when you put lamps on your house, it actually like kind of cast a golden glow around it, like made it feel cozier and warmer? Like you actually create a contrast between the silhouette of trees in the distance and nighttime at night. Like the whole thing kind of starts to pull together to illustrate like just a more finished, polished. I don't really have the greatest word for it, but adding stuff to it to like complete it. At the very least, putting lights on the inside of the windows, like those little hollow socket windows at night, drive me crazy.
Wait, yeah, let's get a picture of that. This one.
Yeah. Look at they look so haunted.
Kind of spooky, right?
They look so scary. Like those hearthlings are gathered around the fire, guys, because their houses are so dark and cold. And this is where they find comfort.
That's why they're sleeping outside, right?
Well, also because their beds are off camera.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's also why they're sleeping outside.
Okay.
But anyway.
So yeah, like adding a bunch of things on top, but so a little bit of context. We're working sort of aside from the like alpha things that we're generally
all the responsibilities
working on,
that we have alpha by alpha.
We're working on sort of like an art visual development, I guess like daily meeting.
Yeah.
And
so
we just go over.
So yeah, every day there's a couple of us on the team. Angelo, Matt Malley, myself, and Chris Kloshek meet up, and we talk about like how possible is it to like work this sort of thing.
Right, and like kind of like talking across the disciplines, right?
Yeah, talking across disciplines, like roping everybody in, talking about like, hey, this is a super nice idea, but what is involved with trying to even make this into a reality, and where do we even begin with that?
Right, so after we got some of these concepts, we like in a meeting or a few meetings, let's say, like started breaking things down.
The first thing we have to do is all agree about what we're talking about. Like it's one thing for us to all look at a pretty picture and agree, hey, that looks cool. But when we actually go into the nitty-gritty about all the little things, all the little bits and pieces in there that kind of help elevate it. Like it's a combination of a bunch of things. It's not just one huge thing all at the same time. So this is a step where we like go through and circle everything, and so we can open up and have conversations about what all these things actually are.
Zoom in on some of this here.
Sure.
So like these little
atmosphere. Yep, that's the word.
Atmosphere. Yeah. So like the beveled edges, where it's like, why is this corner a bit lighter than the other sides here? So we're like, well, maybe beveled edges will like solve that. Like we beveled edges in the game somehow. Like we can get that effect in real time in the game.
Or can we?
Or can we? We'll see.
Same thing. What breaks if we?
same thing with like this idea of atmospheric perspective, where you see how like further into the distance things are bluer and lighter, and that's kind of what is represented here. We had some conversation about like I guess kind of normalizing the words we're using to like describe that.
At the very beginning we had a lot of trouble talking about, like, even though we have a bunch of like images and things that you think, oh, that would be really easy and really unifying across disciplines because we're all looking at the same thing. The trouble that we kept running into is we all have a very different language for how we talk about all these different things.
Right, so some people were saying fog, some people were saying like Rayleigh scattering, other people saying atmospheric perspective, and we're like all talking about the same thing. And
as you can imagine, each one of these things apparently has like a different thing involved with making it a thing. I use Photoshop, they use magic.
Well,
magic.
Let's see some of that.
Can we?
Yeah, let's... Oh, actually, should I go into that or should I talk about some process first? Yeah, let's go into that. Let's see. I have it running here. So let's see. Oh, I can't see the chat. Maybe there's some comments to...
Do you want to take a moment and go over the comments?
Yeah. Let's see. Common lexicon is critical for this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's yeah.
Absolutely. Like it was one of those things that I think caught us all off guard, Surrenderies, when we first met about all of this stuff. Because like, yeah, we're gonna do it. We've got a cool picture, and it was just like, wait, no, we really need to get on the same page.
Yeah. Okay. Question: any plans make more intuitive? Oh yeah, definitely. Find building. Yep. Yes.
So yeah, Aoi Neko is asking if there's any plans to make building more intuitive, provides something to explain how. The very, very short answer is yes, please.
You won't actually see the benefits for a while. Wait, what's Mally talking about?
Mally is actually answering Aoi Neko 86.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, actually, yeah, to what Mally is saying, Chris is actually working on building right now, though it may be a while before you see those benefits in-game. And those are going to be things from just like buildings working better, buildings being more intuitive, but also things like hopefully at some point the interface for how any of that even works gets clearer. Because at the moment it could be better. I myself have gone a little bit blind to the hiccups because I'm so used to tooling around in the building editor. But from working one-on-one with you guys, actually, it shows like packs and seeing how you interact with those systems. We know there's trouble there, and it is definitely on our radar.
Load that.
Surrenderies is asking, what is this wizardry? It's glorious!
So, like Mally's saying, it's like really kind of hacked up. But the idea was we wanted to know what it would take. We kind of wanted to take the temperature, like gauge what work we would need to do if we wanted the game to look like the aspirational, like, concept art.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
And would you say that this is more with an eye to, like, is it possible? Or, like... Is this like more of a sketch or more like a battle plan? Like
it's kind of like a quick sketch where you're like, oh, okay, what can I do to kind of a sketch and kind of a study, rather like I'm looking at what's there now and seeing like how far do we need to change what we have to like get what we want. So I want to break this down a bit.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning.
Let's see, actually, I have. Some drawings here.
Ooh, these are going to be colorful.
Yeah, so the first thing I wanted to do, and I didn't have this set up because it's already been hacked out, so I got a screenshot of it. Like this.
It's done.
Yeah.
Ship it.
So like this is the game with only the lights on. Well, more or less only the lights. You can see that the cube mitter's still there and some other things, but like mostly just the lights. And the game is during nighttime. So just wanted to see like what does it look like when what are the colors of the lights right now in the game.
Okay, so the colors currently are actually very desaturated. They're very
white. No, so not the colors like the base colors, but like the colors of the lights.
Oh,
like,
okay.
So what I noticed immediately was that the sky, like there was a very strong blue light on everything.
Okay. Oh yeah, from the sky.
Yeah. Oh well.
Or no?
There's just a blue light, like a very strong.
Wizardry.
I guess it's a skylight. I guess you could say it's from the sky.
It's from.
It's not from the sky, but we can say that.
Anyway.
Let's see. And then I also wanted to see like what the game looked like with no lights, like just the colors. So, like to see. Oh, what's happening? Oh, yeah. I thought he was saying that the game is like the stream is laggy, but. Let's see what the low quality settings. Low quality settings would look. I didn't actually explore low quality settings with this. This is more like figure out like if we can get the game to look like this. But it was
this like is like the beginning,
like an exploration.
So like these are like the very first stabs at it. It's not all.
Am I expecting a similar look? The goal would be to get it as close as possible, but there are some features which I'll talk about in a bit that makes it like more difficult. Like we're using some like nice features of the deferred renderer to do some of these things. Let's see. Interesting. It looks like the material's native colors are dominant and not really. Right. Exactly. So these base colors are like super saturated, and let's see if we can't get that. So if you can see in this one, and do we have the other one up? Well, we do.
I think so.
Yeah. So if you look at the base colors in this, so what I did to start is I asked Ali for the Photoshop file of this daytime paint over,
which is a nightmare,
and the nighttime paint over, and like look at what she did layer by layer to like create this image. And I noticed like one of the things, like I think you can see it directly even on the video, like that the general saturation of the entire game is much higher, like on the right here. So let's see here, and let's see this one.
Oh.
Yeah, spooky, right? This is the game. Like, so the first step, like I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and match. Like after I got the PSD, I see these layers, and I want to like match what the colors look like. I want to build up the color, so I want like a blank canvas to start with.
Right.
So I went into the settings, went to sky settings, went to everything, and just turned everything to 0. Like turned all the lights off and like made them all the like lowest intensity. And so I could focus and like just like really control what light we're adding to the scene.
So like everything is dialed down, and the only thing in here is being made with the color of the light.
Right. So instead, before you saw like just blue in the background, like this one is like just the light.
Only what the light is adding.
Yeah, and these lights over here are the lamp colors. So on the left, these white grayish ones are the current lamp colors.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
And the orange one is the one that I was working on. So the one I took this screenshot. So if you can see the nighttime painting we have here somewhere. Do we have it here? Did I close it?
Maybe.
Here we go. We have a kind of orange yellowish glow around these lights, and you're not really going to get that by adding like this greenish gray.
No.
So like breaking. So what I did actually is like I turned off all the layers except for the light layer, and then like painted behind it, and then like sampled that color and trying to like make the lights like trying to match the lights. So it's kind of like
that's pretty cool.
Like iterative process here. Let's see. Desaturating colors.
Dark Souls Stonehearth style, says Bear Poo.
Let's see. Desaturating the colors to allow light to actually. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So if we desaturate the colors, we can then add that light later. So those were.
Someone call Rose Bell Tower. Should we do that? Don't worry about it.
Let's see. I don't know.
I'll tell you all about her later. I still have her screenshot.
Let's see.
Never forget.
So hue shift lights. Oh no, that's later.
Hey, don't call me Shirley. Welcome to the stream.
Yep. I'll
Welcome,
talk about
not sure.
these things. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna just show some live stuff now.
Yeah, Bruno Supremo says, yeah, I noticed that my town was very white at night. Was thinking about using the oil lamps because they're red color.
Let's see. Yeah. That's
Exactly.
a good idea.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did. I just like went into the effect files and the JSON files for everything and like changed the colors and changed some other things, but I'll get to that here. Let's see if we can turn off. Let's see, light only, color only. Okay, color only. Yeah, ignore that.
It's probably
so. This
okay.
is the live game with just colors rendering. The sky's different because I changed the this is like the branch where with all the night lights trash, and then you can see like it's really full bright. So what I ended up doing was applying a color transform to the whole thing. So,
oh, whoa.
So this is like the desaturated, and there's some other things, but
I didn't
like,
realize that updated in real time. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. He just like typed in a thing over here on all these like words and numbers, and the thing changed. And
should I show that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Let's see.
I don't think it can live on the screen at the same time all the time, but
yeah. So these are.
So was this
like this is just the composition shader. So I've got a bunch of things like set up for the stream. Right now it's like, oh, turn off the like let's turn on light only, like that kind of thing. So
what? So this is how you were effectively able to basically build it up layer by layer?
Right. So
cool.
I set it up so I can see only one layer, and then I like was able to like make decisions about how I wanted to change things affecting that layer.
Okay, great. Yeah. That's a lot less painful than having to like start it up over and over again. Anyway.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Let's see.
Radiant Mally is saying at Surrender is lol. No, he's an engineer. They're better than wizards, probably because they're real and make video games. Wizards are real.
I like being real. Let's see. So far I've talked about the saturation and the lighting. So the light we're seeing here in like this lighting only is actually like a combination of a bunch of things. So there, like this lighting lit region over here is actually a different system. So I'm going to turn that off.
A different system?
Yeah, that is the.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Cool. That's the other thing.
So that's without it. And let's turn off the SSAO real quick. So this is, yeah, I was thinking like maybe this should be the end lighting for the game too. I was like, oh, actually, pretty successful.
Looks exactly like
Ship it, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
No,
it's kind of
for
an
real
art
though.
piece now?
Yeah. So there's a few things. We've changed the color of the lamps here.
Okay.
We've also changed the fall off of these lights. Let's see. So the old fall off was like an exponential fall off.
And so you're messing with things to.
That's how the lights used to fall off.
So fall off is like the blurriness around the edge.
Like I guess how much it goes to not. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The blurriness around the edge. Yeah. If I can show, I should keep that up actually.
It's easy for things to get moved around during a stream.
Yeah, let's see. This is progress to, yeah, here we go. So what I was looking at is like this fall off here. And a little bit here. I wasn't sure what to make of like this hard edge. I wasn't sure like how exactly to interpret it, but I did see that like, okay, we're having like a pretty smooth fall off from here that didn't exactly match this. So like I would actually do this where like take this on one side and this on the other and kind of try and put the camera like this.
So you would actually like adjust it next to that. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
and then like go in and change a value or whatever, and then see how it changed and like just iteratively like try and get it to match. Another thing that the change with the lighting is like the hardness. So let's change that. So that's a super soft light.
Whoa.
And
the sun is here.
Yeah. And the super hard light would be this one. And I guess you can describe this hardness value as like how much the light is like bending around corners, kind of. So if you look closely right here on this edge, like see how that's like full bright, but then here it's dark.
Yeah.
There is kind of this like light wrappingness in the actual like paint over. So it's like to mimic that, I soften those edges up a little bit. So now you can see that there's like a bit of a bleed.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
So like all of these like small and subtle things like add up to the whole image. So if you just show like just the vignette or like just the lighting, it doesn't look quite right. So let's see. Let's show scatter only. I think scatter is like a good idea. So this atmospheric perspective that we were talking about before was also apparent in the nighttime paint over. And in Stonehearth, we don't have the concept of this atmospheric perspective yet. So Chris actually had already made like a little demo of like the atmospheric perspective, and I just went and copied it and put it in.
Okay, so this
and that's how we added like that, like this blueness.
So
like,
this kind of like misty blue that you guys see in the background here, that's the scattering that Angelo's talking about.
Right. So this is the frame with just the sky and some blueness. So if you see like that fog, that's all new, and we take that and we add that into the light buffer, like or the color buffer at the end.
Oh, and to be clear, when we say new, it's new in this study.
Yeah, in the study,
This is not currently like a thing in the game right now. That would be probably quite bad. But new in this study.
Okay, let's see.
Oh yeah, also to anyone who might have joined after our introductions, this is Angelo. He is one of our engineers on Stonehearth, and he is showing us all about some of the explorations that he has been doing about lighting at night in Stonehearth. And this is all like super experimental, super aspirational. We're like troubleshooting and raising questions and finding interesting answers for them. But we wanted to share a little bit of that process with you guys.
Lord Lighting Wizard.
Lord Lighting Wizard, yes. Lord Lighting Wizard Angelo.
Yeah, swampy? What do you think?
Yeah, actually, if I look at this, I could say that's kind of inky. It's that, I think it's that, like, greenness that starts to creep back in, you know?
Oh, yeah, actually, let's go and fix that fall off that we switched.
Ali Neko is saying, nice. I really liked the lighting from before, so I'm excited to see what you do with it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so this is, like, just to illustrate that this is pretty hacky, like, check out how we got the interior lighting.
Coasters Paul is asking, this is in-game with a lot of purple hearts? The answer is no!
This is, well, this is in-game, but...
Oh, this is in-game, but it's not in the game.
Yeah,
That's complicated.
This is an in-game study.
Yeah, so all of this stuff that you're looking at is like super R&D craziness that's happening kind of behind the scenes while we work on alphas.
Oh wait, let me turn that other lighting stuff back on. All right, so let's turn the SSAO back on and the...
But yeah, not live yet. Yeah. That's right. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, it's... yeah, I can't wait to get it added too. But like I said, this is like really a sort of a sketch, let's say.
Yeah, it's sketching. We're prototyping.
To illustrate that, like we'll see, like this is how I lit the interior to make it match. I just added a bunch of these.
So guys, in the future, we expect you to put numerous lampposts inside of the house.
This one.
More lampposts than anyone would think you would possibly need. It's fine.
Right.
It makes perfect sense. But the idea, though, is like to create like the end result in a way that like allows us to get to the things that we actually need to like answer.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's go over
all the lampposts.
Let's go over some of the things that
please.
I did. So let's see. Add inner lights. We just went over that. The lamps. Remove the cube emitters from the lamps. Just again, all this stuff is to match that concept.
And the cube emitters currently in game. Those are the square boxes.
Yeah,
that
the boxes that are coming off.
Okay.
Of them. Yeah. Add the scattering, like we talked about, the atmospheric perspective in the back.
That's all that blue fog in the background.
Went in and changed this sky color to be super bright to match the concept.
Right, so you've got the silhouette of the trees.
That just changes the color of the sky. It doesn't change the color of the light.
Okay, cool.
The actual light for the sky is much less pronounced. Okay, yeah, I also added this vignette. I don't know if you can see it, but around the corners of the screen, it's actually...
Like move your mouse around it, because they can't see your finger.
Yeah. Around the corners, you can actually see that it's darker and more blue, and that's just sort of a subtle thing that is in the concept and just adds to the overall image. Let's see.
Coaster's Paul is saying, I guess after the years, I'm just surprised Stonehearth's engine will be able to do this.
Will be able? This is Stonehearth's engine.
This is Stonehearth's engine.
Yeah.
That is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of this was just changing settings.
Yeah.
Going in and changing the colors of the lamps and you know, the sky colors and all these things. And other things like really small, like the fall off. I guess I can show that too.
Actually, do we want to finish going through the list before we branch off?
Oh yeah, I got on a tangent.
Tangents are really easy. We're all extremely excited about talking about the stuff we do, so it's just really easy to rabbit hole. Okay, so what's next?
So HSV shift. So we talked about this, like hue shifting and basically bringing down the saturation of the base colors that are coming into the compositor.
Okay.
Let's see. Changing the Omnilight fall off. We talked about that a bit. I added. Okay, this is kind of a hack, but I added a blue light to everything.
And I think part of that might be my fault, but I want to hear your description of it first.
Right. So in the image, which is lost again. Great. In this image, you can see that a lot of the tops of these things have like a blue light to them, like even in the center when there's no light, no lamp that's close to it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of lit as if by moonlight. Mm-hmm. So for that,
Hylian Chicken has just entered the stream. Hello, Hylian Chicken.
Hi.
I remember this concept art. Who's the person on the left?
Hi, I'm Angelo. Pleased to meet you.
Angelo is an engineer on our team, and today we're going over a bunch of the crazy wizardry he's been sketching on with lighting in the background while we've also been working on alphas and stuff. And we were just going through a list of a bunch of things that he's been applying to this scene. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and the fireflies and I didn't actually put any of the bright bells or the fireflies, anything emissive.
It's the one thing I care about. Okay, no, that's not true.
So
I care about everything.
Okay, you can see how these lights are bright, and so are these.
You are forever going to be Angelo, god of light at this point.
That's
lighting
funny.
Wizard.
But that's okay.
This is fine. That's good.
I accept
that's
that.
Good.
I accept that. The brightness here, though, like you can see, I wanted to get to that, but didn't quite get the emissiveness of these lamps. But just as far as this exploration goes, we learn what we were like setting out to learn.
And specifically, like, can you speak a little bit to like, I mean, why not do all of the things in the picture? What like were the big issues that you were really like scratching your head out?
I think. Really, we just wanted to gauge like how much work like changing the lighting model would be, or like how would it be like impossible to get like if you the grass, for example, like it was green when an orange light was near it, and that was something where we were like, is that just a limitation of the engine? Like can we get around it? So like there's a lot of these small questions that were just easier to answer by just trying something really quick.
Sure.
So, yeah, This is just the start of the wizard hair. Like this, I gotta keep on graying. I got only a couple of gray hairs. Let's see. We talked about blue light, shadow lamps. Oh, okay. So these lamps, they used to cast shadows. They should still eventually cast shadows, but to match the image, I turned that off. We talked about the N.L thing. That's like the hardness of the light. Bounce factor. Oh yeah, and I turned off the clouds because it was messing up with the silhouette.
He clapped his hands and the clouds were no more.
Another interesting thing is that each of these lights now actually have two light sources. There's one for like a big radius and one for that smaller radius. Because in the original like concept here, you could see like there's a bit of a glow here and like a glow out here. So when we actually go and do this, we could probably just do it with one light, but it's again like something where we're just trying something out, seeing if we
stringing it together to see what works.
Let's see.
Lieutenant Campbell says, I have a challenge for you. What about luminescent plants, like glowing mushrooms or flowers?
Oh yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be. So in the concept art, you'll see that the bright bells in the daytime are glowing in the nighttime. So this is something that I think the entire team is totally on board with. And partially it's the idea, especially because if we're looking at like the nighttime becoming richer and like deeper, having more of those like little moments that make it like also magical and special only to have those things at night. Like adding those layers of mystery so that nighttime isn't just like when the sun goes away and the monsters come out and everyone is scared and goes inside. But like, yeah, stuff like that is just like one more like little layer of fairy tale magic to the world. Hylian Chicken says, make everything glow, make the bunny statues glow. It's important to practice restraint when making things glow. If everything glow, nothing glow.
I think we can add some like highlights everywhere.
Just shines on everything, like a million shines. Anyway.
So
luminescent plants would be beautiful, I agree. Zebra Zahara, your name is kind of bright green, and I am far away.
Does the engine do PBR? Currently it does not, but that is something we were talking about a lot. Orc.
Plants and fungus for light. Yeah, like how do you like address like underground corridors and things like that?
Yeah, that would be probably another study too. Barring from the forest.
Sarandri says, share us a link.
Let's see here. Oh, nice.
Oh, very shine. Yeah, this is like if you decide that there are no boundaries and everything can be shiny. It's too powerful.
Turn the glow up to 11.
It's just turn it up to like 11, 11, 11. It's great.
Yeah.
Jabaulin is asking about PBR.
Yeah. So physically based rendering is sort of it's a longer discussion, maybe.
I guess so.
But it's a technique for representing materials inside game engines that is popular, if not the de facto standard these days. But yeah, it describes materials like sort of in a physically based way to say like, is this plasticky or is it metallic?
I think Coaster's Paul has also noticed the beveling on the edges of those blocks a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna get to next.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The chat's moving.
That's perfect.
Considering people.
So this was another demo I don't have live because as you can see, it was kind of breaking. But I just wanted to see what this lighting would look like with a little bit of like beveled edges. Chris had put together another quick test to see if we can get some beveling. So yeah, these are some screenshots of that. You can see that not all of these have some beveled edges, but really pay attention to these areas. There are some other things that are kind of funny, like this. This is kind of related to bevel, like where I was trying to explore different like screen space approaches to like maybe like getting that bevel. Nothing is
Pins are here.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, anyway.
Nothing is panned out yet, but I think in the future I want to test out like I have some ideas for how we can maybe do that nice beveling effect that we see in the concept without actually beveling the geometry.
Oh, okay, interesting. And that's like to save on
like vertices or processing, or like I think it could just save on a lot of work actually. Like if we can just do it in screen space and pick which things we want to be beveled and how much, we almost get it for free compared to other things.
Okay, cool. These colors, wow. Oh, these colors, wow.
Let's see, hue shift lights. Yeah, I'll just talk about these now. Like these are some. Whoa, these are not opening.
I think you were at the stream where Allie looked at indoor lighting and stuff. Not sure, says Hylian Chicken. Were you at the stream?
Was I? I don't think so.
Ghost. Anyway, what's this?
This is some more broken stuff. This is talking still more about finding edges and thinking about beveling, and like this one was actually like also a hack. If you see like the brightness on the top, like trying to match this. Okay, this image where some of these top faces were getting more light than they should have compared to some other things. Like if you see the like top of the tree, or like the top of each of these stones, or the top of this, like that extra light differentiates those faces from like the faces like the other ones around it. And we don't actually have a light source in the game that would provide that light, but also not provide it to the ground, because if we could increase that light like by putting an extra light in there, but then the ground gets lit, but I didn't want that. And like we can increase the ambient, but then everything gets brighter. So it's just, you know, experimenting. Like not everything was like, oh, I'm gonna put this down and it works. So that's an example of something that's broken. Here's another example of something that kind of was broken. Oh, this takes like 7 years to open up a picture.
It's doing a lot of things at once. Poor stream machine. After the show, it gave us, when we first tried to start her up, that was fun. We had like an endlessly looping burger commercial, but only the audio.
Operation is timed out. Okay, so this one might be a bit subtle over the stream, but can you see that this area is more saturated than this area out here? Can anyone?
It'll be a little while before they catch up.
Oh, right. So anyway, the idea was like maybe in areas of light we would want to see a little bit more saturation than like the outside areas. So this was like applying more of that desaturation to the darker areas.
Okay, interesting. Oh, they can see it.
Oh, cool, nice.
Wow, that is quite a delay.
Yeah, wow. Let's see. Yeah, you can see here. Some in progress shots. This earlier. Progress 2.
That's really cool.
Just along the way. Yeah.
So what was happening in these, or just like subtle?
It's just like building stuff up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think I had I already had the atmospheric perspective, but just like adjusting the colors and adjusting like the ambient values and that kind of thing. It's still not 100% on, obviously. It's
honestly though the first time I saw this, it was on the screen right next to the paint over that I made, and my first take on it was why is the paint over open twice on the same screen? And what actually caught me that one was not is the bright bells by the house right there, and that's when I realized what was going on. Like I'm still amazed by this. I think it's really cool.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress. But it's I don't know. I think it's a pretty spectacular work in progress. So what is something that's you're still like, I mean, aside from a lot of things I'm sure, but is there something in particular that you're like still super challenged by, still super like, oh man, I gotta get back in here and like tear this open and figure out what's going on?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think one is this not fog of war. Oh no, not that confusion again. No,
this is fog of war, right?
No, this is the logically lit region. We'll talk about that in a second.
We should probably talk a little bit about that in just a second.
But like I said, the emission, just getting the colors right on. Also, the way we had it, I don't know if I can like duplicate this, but if you have a lot of lights in the same place right now, they really blow out in a not.
Oh yeah, they just turn white.
Yeah, but in like a really not good way.
Yeah.
So like there's still questions to be answered here. Sleepy buddy.
Oh, look at the friends. They are good.
Yeah, and like this shows like just one time of night. If we wait for the clock to move forward a bit, we'll see that like the sky and everything does not, like the lights don't change over time. So another thing I was thinking I wanted to address is like, what does that gradient look like? How do you get from this nighttime to the daytime that we normally have,
right?
Or the aspirational daytime even, like. What's it look at dusk? What does it look at halfway between dusk and like nighttime and that kind of thing? Okay, so now we're in the middle of the day, and obviously it doesn't look like that, and that's
during an eclipse.
Yeah, and that really shows that this is like hacked together to sort of get an idea.
Sure, yeah.
Let's load that though to talk about fog of war a bit, or not fog of war. Logically lit regions.
All right. So start from the beginning. What even is?
Part of the reason we're doing the lighting study is to figure out, like, one is like what do lights look like at night, and the other is like how do we communicate which areas are lit, and those are kind of the same but also kind of different, because we want to make it very clear which areas are being lit, like logically. Like if my hearthling is inside this region, they will they will feel like, oh, I'm in a lit region. So like they won't be scared of the dark, or they won't be
right.
Insert like
so,
game mechanic.
So even though like we can see like there's a pool of light out here, if that was the only area it affected, that would actually be pretty restrictive.
Right.
They could like walk over here and then be real scared and upset. So actually there's this second boundary here, which is obviously like realistically the lights probably would not be able to reach this far.
And if we increase the radii of the lights, we end up just blanketing everything in orange.
Yeah, that's the alternative. Of course, is like, well, why don't we just take this
make
pool
the lights
and
bigger.
make it bigger? And the problem is, like, you see this orange color right here. Imagine your entire town bathed in that color, like that weird chartreuse. It's not a good.
Oh, lamps that people can hold. Yes, maybe. Hopefully.
I'm crying inside. I want it. I cannot say yes, and I cannot say no. I can only say I will fight for you.
I'll fight for you too. I think it's a good idea.
Such a good idea. I love it. It looks super cute. I just want them holding lamps and forever.
And then updating the logically lit region
everywhere. But more like, so I guess like where you could imagine this is like, this is the light that comes off of this. This is the area of visibility, I guess, that's granted against just...
Which is different from fog of war.
Yeah, because like what you're looking at here technically is not shrouded in fog of war. This is visible at night. Or I should say hard to see in night.
Yeah.
Versus...
this is like I'm scared of the dark territory.
Yeah, and this is like not scared of the dark territory. The greater question of what does fog of war do then is one that actually is not encompassed in this study.
Right.
But if this looks familiar, it is because it's built in the same...
Do you want to talk about big dumb circles now?
So like while we're talking about logically lit regions and like visibility at night, do we want to catch up on this guy really quick?
Yeah.
Everybody wants lamps, which I think is amazing. Different colored torches, that's super cute. No, you should always talk, especially when it's things like bringing up lamps that people can hold, because that's amazing. Seriously, But anyway, what big dumb circles? Okay, so while we're on the subject, and I guess we're also starting to wind down a little bit. So
oh no, we only have
Well, we can go a little.
We can
long,
still talk about big dumb circles.
But big dumb circles is a study that I made before we started diving into all this. So it's a lot faster for me to derp around in Photoshop than it is for everybody else to like go in and like tinker with everything. And it also provides like kind of a top-down, art-wise. Like, what are we shooting for aesthetically? So, can I see them all?
Yeah.
So, Big Dumb Circles was my big first art pass about, like, okay, so we're exploring this idea that the lights are giving off light, but also creating, like, an area of, like, visibility in the darkness, which sounds like the same thing, but it's kind of subtly different. And this exploration, for instance, like, I don't feel like any of these are incredibly successful. Like, a lot of what Angelo's been doing in his studies, I feel like have been way more on point, way more on the nose. But again, this is just our, like, quick and dirty. Like, all of these, I think, were made in the span of, like, maybe an hour. They were really fast, just so we could, like, quickly throw out, like, hey, so what if those areas of visibility were, like, the same colors of the light and had hard edges? That looks a little weird. Also, if you use your imagination and you zoom out really far, you can imagine a scenario in which your town would just be covered in, like, yellow polka dots, and nobody wants that. Here was another take on it that wait, what was that one doing? Oh, this was on the blue paint over. Okay, so some of these are going to be very similar because there's actually 2 versions of nighttime, and they're very close. So here's one where we're like, okay, well, what if we backed off the opacity of that circular overlay, but like indicated where it ended with a barrier? And again, this starts creating like really weird hoops. Yeah. It is a solution, but it's maybe not a great one. But still, you got to claw those ideas out of your head and get them on paper where everyone can see. This is like even less, but an even like more bold border. It's just like, what is that on the ground? It starts to feel like it's breaking reality a little bit.
But it's also kind of like the storage regions or these other
yeah. It starts to feel like
these outlines.
A stockpile that you can't turn off, for instance. And again, I feel like that's something that I didn't really talk about, is like the reason that we're going through the trouble of doing that is essentially this is a zone. This is kind of an artificial thing, but we're trying to find a way of representing it in-game in such a way that it feels natural. Like, hey, I put down a lamp, and you don't question that the area is brighter around it, because that's just like, of course it would be. But how do we like really clearly indicate where it's bright enough and not bright enough? And we're really trying to make that feel like it's part of the world and not just part of a system. So all of these were different takes on that. This is where things get really atrocious, like the additive ones where we start like seeing, where's Spirograph? Oh man, that's beautiful. No, this one is like, I look at this,
one's my favorite. Yeah.
I look at this and I start crying. But you need to see these things, especially like when we're talking about like communicating these concepts across the entire team. Even if in my heart I'm like, oh, I know this isn't going to end well, it's really important that we have all of these things as tools to help us communicate more clearly about what it is we're looking at and what our desired outcomes and everything really is and why. This is when I made them blurry and it didn't make it better. But yeah,
I think that's all of them.
These are the big dumb circles, and these were all, like I said at the beginning, like really fast iterative explorations of what that visibility might look like.
Do we have? I don't think I have. Oh no, I do. Okay, cool. So this is actually another solution for that same problem. Like, how do we show which areas are lit? But we did a few iterations even inside this engine. So like here's
fairy lamps. Sorry, I read the chat.
Oh.
It's a beautiful idea. Light Venn diagram. Yeah, exactly right. Anyway, so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So these are just like, actually, let me open all of them. Like here we go. Just different ideas of like, all right, like what if the lit regions were rectangular or like squarish?
Yeah, so it's like there are no circles in Stonehearth, right?
And
so
we'll
what
have
if
like
those
some stepped blur?
Yeah, what if those and obeying kind of that pixelated, voxelated kind of look that everything has, what if instead of a soft blur, we actually showed those steps as like a visible gradient, step by step?
Yeah, this is the same rounded one. This is without the blur.
Oh.
This is like toning that down a bit. And this is a soft blur, but with a sort of rectangle, like a squarish region.
Surrenderies just said at Stonehearth, hey, Allie whispers about glowing parrots flying in the sky. I'm gone.
No, the squares look bad. Yeah, I agree.
The squares look real bad.
I think what we landed on was this like softer, like
not
lit
enough
region. I think it's better. It still communicates like this area is lit.
And what I think what the reason why this starts to feel more successful is like when we've got the squares on the ground and the edges on the ground, it's another edge, it's another corner, and the contrast is incredibly like there. Whereas if you allow that edge to diffuse, if you allow it to recede, things like houses and hearthlings and the things that you actually want to be paying attention to can still be the thing that you're paying attention to, and you're not torn between that and this crazy pattern your lamp is drawing on the ground.
Yeah, I don't think I have one of those, but you just imagine like if you were like looking like this and you had like lamps everywhere, there would just be a lot of like crazy patterns.
And that's still part of and that's still part of the puzzle too, is like how do we elegantly indicate these areas in such a way that like the town that you build and the community that you're raising, like the look of that is not compromised by this system that we're trying to put in place to like make it more interesting and more compelling. Oh, sorry, Hyrule system, we are starting to wind down just a little bit.
So like, should we take some questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're right about out of time with you guys today. Thanks so much everybody for like coming to the stream and looking at the process that Angelo's been going through to make all this stuff like start to happen. Like these are like, again, just like the bare bone sketches, and they already look fantastic. And for everybody who's like been here to like welcome Angelo to his first stream, that's super awesome. So yeah. If you've got any questions for Angelo while we're here, while we're winding down, awesome. Put them into the chat. Oh, it's so cool. Like actually seeing the fire going and everything. It's like, oh no, it could be a thing. Hyrule system, I'm sorry. Goodbye. Goodbye forever. Roller chair and out of here. Oh no, more lights. Local bird ruins everything. I'm coming back.
Glowing plants and mushrooms? Yes? No?
Glowing plants and mushrooms.
Glowing plants? Yeah,
if I can, I want to. Yeah. If we can, I would really love to do that. I think it would make the world of Hearth look so cool. Oh, thank you so much, Real Omegasa. Ah! Did you study at Hogwarts? Asks Greymatter 222.
A little bit, but I was expelled.
What house were you in?
Slytherin.
Shit! Oh. I said a bad. Anyway, moving on. I like that fire. Is there going to be a similar study with water later? Asks Coaster's Paul. So Coaster's Paul, literally everything is getting a pass. That's
anything that you can see, right? Like that's part of the Viz Dev like studies that we're doing every day. Like
I'm very fortunate enough to work with a fantastic team of awesome, talented wizards who give me some of their time to like see how stuff like this works on top of the stuff that they're always doing on features that are like coming to you guys live. But yeah, like literally everything that you can see in the game is under scrutiny. Not like going to be flushed down the toilet and forgotten about. That's not the point of all this. But like, hey, we've already got things that we're doing well, and we've got this kind of target that we're even wondering if is possible to hit. Can we? What do we do about that? And how do we make it all look good together? Most importantly of all.
Don't Call Me Shirley says, just curious in terms of lighting. And this is reaching a little too far into the future. But, Angelo, any consideration to adding a sun to the sky and creating a major one-point light source?
Things in the sky?
There is a light source right now, but so a one light source that is like filling everything with light and like just bouncing everywhere and coloring everything is like some global illumination kind of thing, or is actually something that we are talking about. We're thinking about that, but not for like the outside, but it's still really early. But we're considering like how to get the for the internal like lighting, like the indoor lighting, like how do we match the paint overs, and it's something we're looking at. I'm baking a bunch of irradiance maps, basically doing light baking, but in real time, and not real time anyway. It's a yes. So sort of. Does that answer the question? What about reverse glows?
Something that
yeah, that's something we can do.
Project shadows and darkness.
I don't think that's something that we are planning on doing.
No, I honestly like. So Sarandaries was asking, what about reverse glows, things that project shadows and darkness? And that's probably the first time I've given that thought. But now it's going to haunt me. So maybe. Let's see. Did we get to see indoors lighting? Asks Hyrule Symbol.
Oh yeah, you want to see the no?
So,
like the indoor lighting was totally hacked in with a bunch of lamps, like was said here by Hylian Chicken. Basically in the paint over there was like some nice lights coming through the windows, and to get that I opened it up and put a bunch of lamps in here because it was more about studying what it looks like, the outdoor lighting looks like. The indoor lighting would be another study.
Yep. Also, Bruno Supremo just wrote shadow monsters, I'm assuming in response to my comment previously, and you just reminded me about somebody that I forgot. So I have thought about this already. Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
Okay, these light settings.
Oh, so Real Omegasa is asking, can all these light settings be toggled individually, or is it a global setup?
I don't think, yeah, we haven't put much thought into that. This is more like, can we get the game to look like the
So we're not there yet, essentially.
Yeah, it's not really a feature in the game, or we haven't really like thought around like, oh yeah, can you turn the vignette off, or like that kind of thing. I mean, it's all technically possible, but like answering like what thing we want to do, like, we haven't done.
Get your candle hats, keep the dark away, says Lieutenant Cannonball. Actually, that's kind of the point.
Yeah,
actually.
Exactly.
I guess we could maybe finish off with Chili Cheese Ray is asking, does or would light contribute to characters' moods?
Yes, right?
That's kind of the idea, I think. If not like extremely explicitly, whether or not your town is comfortably lit should have an impact on the happiness and I guess health of your town. Not because we love to be like mean like that, but because when that's a thing, suddenly lights are about more than just being sparkly. They have a purpose. Also, I mean, you feel better, I hope, when lights are on at night, unless you're trying to sleep, and then you don't. Or maybe you do. I don't know you actually. All right. So thanks so much everybody for coming to the stream and for the awesome questions, and I hope you guys are super psyched about what all of this has been happening and doing in the background, and there will be like much more of this to come. I really hope we get another chance to share some of these explorations with you guys while they're in flight. So yeah, if you've got any further questions, drop us a line on the discourse.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks so much.
Bye.
Gotta wave. All right. Here, let me see. First stream. All right. Thanks so much, everybody.